Hey, people. America's got Israel over there doing this dirty work in the Middle East. And everybody thinks Israel is holier than thou, God's chosen people. But America knows better. That's why they were chosen for the job they're doing. It was that ridiculous story in King James Bible that got people believing that Israel is God's chosen people. But in the original Greek, in the Hebrew, it's a much different story. You know, when Jacob meets Rachel, they try to tell you that he met her down there by the well. But the well is spelt the bar, B-A-R. He met her at the bar. Rachel was an old bar whore. She was at the bar. You'll see this well spelt just B-A-R here. You know, roll the stone from the mouth of the bar. You know, a well is B-A-R. And so that's the same term we use today, you know, to the watering hole. The well drinks is the bar whiskey. I was reading over here in Proverbs 31. It's the last proverb. It's called the words of King Lemuel, but there is none. You'll see they left that name out in the Greek translation, and they just called it good instruction. You know, it's just by a king. He didn't have a name. And just this one line here in the Hebrew tells the story of lost city of Atlantis. You know, this land that was between America and Africa. And it also tells us a story about the lost city of Mu and the lost city of Lemuria, the Mu. But that's in a next movie. But I was reading on down this Proverbs, and it's talking about drinking. And I know a good bit about drinking. I joined the Navy when I was 17, and I sailed around the world doing a lot of drinking. But it's talking about drinking the wine, and it's not for princes. Talking about the intoxicating drink. And they drink to forget, and to give a strong drink and wine. But, you know, to drink and forget your poverty is whiskey. W-I-S-K-H, whiskey. This is it, same in the Greek, you know, is it. And you can see it better up here. It's pronounced isht. And finished whiskey. Let's say drink and forget. But, you know, finished whiskey is gin. And that's the word they give wine. But you can just read it, is it. It's his. Is it whiskey rise of a meal? A meal is a name meaning him doing the hardest, lowest paid labor. A meal. And rise of a meal. And lays screwed with a Z. Screwed. Let him drink and forget his poverty and his misery. No, remember more. And so I remembered that, you know, Jacob met Rachel at the bar, so that's why I went to read that. That plus this word for son here, you know, B-R-I, and bar. This is 3 of the 4 times that this word's used. It's only used twice like this, and once like this, and used once more over here in Psalms. And son has always been, and I think Ben's down here, and they would usually say this is all the sons. And I guess that didn't fit good with this who are appointed to die, which is the chill of. And that would be the same chill as in Rachel, the chill of. But this starts with a nasty little story, 9 lines. And then there's the 22 virtues of a noble woman. And so you couldn't interpret this in the Greek. So it's not like this. But it'll start with the ABCs. In the bit, in the camel, in the doors. And you'll see that all through Lamentations too. Everything's either got 22 or 66 lines. And they'll follow the alphabet 1 or 3 times. And King James, she is like the ship's merchant. From afar she brings her food. But this is, what's a charm? And so she is like the ships is they take any one of them. And this isn't a word, it's got to be read with this. They take any what's a charm or effect, effect via alchemy. Alchemy, they totally skipped that E, but they say this dot means two of them. It's the same as going to battle. What'll come? Alchemy. What'll come of it? She brings her food is by alchemy. But it's a little more here. It's the tekken, the TEK. The Greek is for the children, the tek, and the tek. Any what's a charm or effect by way of will come. But this Jacob meets Rachel. This is why say of Bragley, oh wow, carts having fed 'em. So why say, oh chap, this is oh Englishman. Why say oh of Bragley like Bradley? Well, this is Bragley, and so that he's going to be talking all his stories down here. Oh Bragley. Oh wow, carts, he's riding in the cart, he's not walking. Oh while carts having fed him. And so he's upper class and he's riding in the food car. He's getting fed on his trip. Somebody else is driving. Where of in the bar beside when ism's souls had rivets when the souls had writs, RITS, had you done sold your soul, somebody owns you, your souls has writs on, rivets 'em attached. All ye seamen, ever the who, that's whoever, ever the who, and all ye seamen ever the who, is few, QUE, is few, and the D is the TH, otherum, few otherum, and having godly all pie the bar. And so, old piver, that's a woodpecker. And this pie, in the Greek here, the stomatos, they say the stoma is the mouth, but it's not. This is to us to mate as to. And you see it in this Greek, in Proverbs, O son, open your mouth with the word of God. And so it's a stomo logo. And this is the stoma logo. And they say it's used as a R and possibly an ancestor to pay. But it gives a lot better idea when it starts adding words on here. And you see when it's got teeth, it's sept. And that's the judgment, the sepet or septic. And you'll see it with this ren here. And this is where your word children come from. That REN is where this come from. And so best chances are that's where the parent come from. They don't know anything about this. But here in the Greek, the well is the career, and whore, a widow, the widow career. And encyclopedia, this is the pedia that's in encyclopedia, and it's the knowledge part of in the cycle, knowledge, encyclopedia, because all the old knowledge worked in a cycle. And the knowledge has on the ekatria. And so this is where you got to use some alchemy. And this is D. And so the K being followed by E becomes an L. Is on delay. On delay, come here. A key here. A lay here. It's the same word. But a key is also the word for X. And X marks the spot. I want to dos a keys. 2 X's, It's the word for X, and that means here, When you look at a sign, it says you are here, and it's marked with a key. And so this actually says, has on the dexter, on the right hand, Yah. And if you look in your right hand, you might have the Yah. I know I got it. In whore, widow, career, Intupedia has on the dexter, Yah. The poem in Yah, probate on. Probate on is probation. This is where you word prove, to prove it on. You got to prove yourself before you get to come out. And resting, a nap. A nap, that was the Hebrew word for thou shalt not commit adultery. A nap. You're taking a nap with your neighbors. And so a Napa woman, W-O-M-E-N, a Napa woman, N-A-E is a sep, A-E-P is E-S-P, a sep of two, a vec jar, that's a vector, for from out of, a vector is an arrow pointing away, and a gar, this is gear, it's where your word fishing gear come from, and it means a spear, an arrow, a vector. And to a create of, and Selena, the E-K-E becomes a S-E-L-E. The Selena of the pot is on. The Selena, god of the moon and wisdom, the pot is on. To poem in Yah, the marking in your right hand. And poi, this is the base word for the create, because everything was created with the mouth, the poem. And the poem in Yah light as deacon. And mega sepit as to mate it of, the mouth of the well of create as. So somewhere in here it talks about stomato turned the other way. And that's what this talking about. The stomato was never a mouth. And the signage onto Eki, the X font, to poem in Yah, and a fecally on, tone, light on, away, a po, away to us to mate as to, and create as, and the pot is on, to probate of, a po, away, apocalypse, apokathiston, away, kathiston, apokathiston, tone light on, the fight as to mate of, create as his tone, top on, odd of. And this down here in 5, this is where your word skeet come from, and it's actually the let. They feed of to his the gina's let, the gina skeet, loving to nui on the naturoid. So your word nature come from, and natural, but these was fed from the naturoid, the fang, F-A-N-G, the fang in is common. So they're common, they're serpents, the fang is in common, there's serpents and spiders. But, they say Leah was the bigger sister, but here it says Rachel was the biggest sister, and the widow and rack, the rack hell it together, two works it to with, the metaton, the 19-year cycle, the metaton probaton. And here again, the widow rack held it together, loving hurts it to metaton probaton, to patros of this saw the gar, the boozle to probate it of father saw this. And at the beginning, it starts with mother saw this. And so this edge into, you often see it following the S, because it's the sedge into, and, it's at the edge of the waters where the sedges grow. And it's what the writers, the authors, used to write on papyrus of the sedge in toad, dragging it behind you. As hiding, Jacob saw, now as hiding, yak of betting, the rack helt in together. The rack helt in together. A love on nadle. Love on is the lab, and lab is usually what they say is and took or received, and it's shooting the stars, the lab on, and natal is a birth chart of your stars. The lab and natal coat is mother saw to, and to probate olive on to wattle coats. Wattle is a plant. It's high in DMT. The wattle coat is, and so this isn't mothers. This is more the metro sought. The metro sought of. He's braggly. He's telling a story about everything he saw in the cities. The metro sought of. And proselton and confessed. The yak of a pickle is, and they called on the name of God when they were in a pickle. A feckle changing. A pickle is it on, the light on. So changing the light on, 3,000 years ago, whores used to have a light on the door, and that light would change. And a fickle is on, a light on. A way to us, to mate as, to, and create as. And the pot is it, a probate, olive on. To waddle, fought is metro saw to. And so, and Jacob kiss, and a file is in the yak of then. But when you look in the Hebrew, this word for kiss, is who suck, SQ. And it's the same suck, that's in who suck and watered. And we sucking, then we will water. And we suck what? Ever we suck what it's on, and we sieve what? We suck what it's on, and we sieve what having all piver of 'em come. So, these writers are a bunch of pussy eaters, is what it sounds like. And Jacob, he just had a big old titty fetish. That's all he talks about is sucking titties. But I just want to hit this real quick. I hope y'all got something out of it, because I want to make a movie on this Proverbs, because it seems like everything in there is real easy. And especially when it gets down into these Proverbs, you have some 5 and 6 letter lines, and they're not all connected, so it's easier to read. But you see it again in the whiskey, who suck, but it's suck with a K now. And the intoxicating drink, is a sucker. A strong drink is a sucker. But, when you read it with the line here, it's the ton of rocks. Ton of rocks crawl of bed. Ton of rocks that crawl of bed. So to give a strong drink back in the day, it was just Johnny Walker Red, ton of rocks. Put it on the rocks. Alright, I'm gonna cut this off here. Have a good day.